You spent all this time dieting down to get leaned up and shredded. The last thing you want to do is throw that away. So I'm going to teach you in this video how to reverse diet. This is, you've got the six pack, you're lean, how do you keep it? But of course, you're not just going to want to eat your low dietary food because ultimately you feel pretty darn hungry all the time, your energy's low, and that was what was needed to get you lean. It's not what's needed to keep you lean. There is a big difference. I think people, the reason why they never get in true shape is because they think they have to live this way of high cardio and low food forever to maintain a six pack. Trust me when I say you don't. It's much easier to maintain something than it is to actually get it. Now we've just finished a USA shoot and we're going to be running a UK one very soon as well. So this video very relevant for our members within the Gorilla Platoon. I thought I'd push it out to you on YouTube so you can understand what it is you need to do when you get the six pack. So let's use some easy baseline numbers that you use to get lean. So you were dieting down, you started off at higher calories, 2,700, 2,800, whatever. You dieted all the way down and you ended up on 2,000. You also started on 20 minutes of formal cardio daily and that number had to go up and you finished on 70 minutes of cardio daily. It was high as anything. You did whatever it took to get lean, to get the body fat off and to look good. So at this stage, you've just finished. You're happy, you're lean, you're tight, you've crystallized your transformation and you're happy. Your first protocol, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna increase your calories by 250 in the form of carbohydrates, ideally around the workout. Why? Because the quicker we can restore training performance, the less chance you have of any muscle loss. Any dip in performance could reflect in a drop of muscle, which we don't want. We want you back in the gym, pushing those numbers back up to what they were when you were in that improvement phase, or if this was your first recomp phase, you'll just be adding more fuel to the fire to get that back up. When it comes to cardio, straight away we need to reduce that cardio quite significantly. If you were at 70 minutes, I'd bring it all the way down to 30 as a first COA, so 30 minutes of daily cardio. Now you're gonna run that for a week. You should find that maybe there'll be a little bit of increase in scale weight, maybe just a little bit because there's a bit more food going inside you through the extra 250 calories and the carbohydrates. That said, not too much will really change. You won't even feel that much better in that week. And one of the most important things I'll speak to you about is the mindset behind reverse dieting. The way you want to look at this is you've just got to the summit, i.e. you've crystallized, you've got your six pack. But then you see there's a bit of it's a false summit and there's a bit more you need to push on to. That's what this is going to be like in the reverse dieting phase, because that week you'll just want to go mad, you want to go eat out, you want to do all the things you couldn't do when you were restricted. But it's at that very week, if you do that when you're the most responsive and sensitive to the way you will use food, you could really send this into a spiral. And this is how people end up like binging and with like, you know, mad cravings for food because they didn't do this the right way. So see this as a false summit. Sure, you've hit the transformation, but it's going to take around 3 to 4 weeks until you're going to be feeling back to normal. It is normal that you feel quite hungry, you know, reversing out of a dieting phase, and in a weird way, getting extra food is kind of harder because your brain will see this as, oh, well, we've got more food coming in, we're not dieting, we can relax. But actually, you still need to discipline yourself not to overconsume that meal plan if you're serious about keeping the look and the condition. And as I always say, this was not about the six pack, this was about the man you needed to become along the way. It was about the fact that you were becoming that athlete version of you. So think, how would the athlete version of you look after the body he's just worked so hard for? It's the same way if I give you this fancy ass vase that you've wanted for ages, you're not just gonna like leave it outside in the fucking hail and rain, are you? You're gonna wrap it in like fresh polyester and put it in a box and keep it safe so it doesn't fucking smash. You want to treat your six pack the same way. You've just got it. Give yourself the right amount of nutrients needed that week to reverse out. And every week it's going to get progressively easier. And this is really going to set the foundation for your overall improvement phase or off season, whatever you want to call it. Because at this stage now, you're always going to read and understand to your body, are we ready to increase food? If so, yes. And you're looking at just another 250 calories until you get back to your maintenance. Now, you may say, well, what is my maintenance? And the answer to that, honestly, your body will decide. You can do a rough calculation that if you dieted down and it took you to 2,000, but your maintenance is somewhere from the calorie calculator, 2,600, sure, that may be the difference, but your maintenance will be when your body simply is not adding or dropping scale weight from the food and the output that you have yourself on. That's what you want to find out yourself. And sure, you can do calculations online. The best way to work out your true maintenance is to track the data yourself. Now, at this stage of the game, you'll be very good at tracking data because you've got lean in the first place. You didn't get to 10% body fat without tracking scale weight, food, steps, cardio, sleep, the full 9 yards. So you may say then the second week, you could add more carbs, but I would actually start to integrate a little bit of fats, and I'd start to do a split of 50-50 in terms of 50% of that 250 calorie increase comes from carbs and the rest comes from fats. You may also want to think when am I most hungriest in the day and put more calories in and around that. The whole mission of reverse dieting is to stop you from binging and throwing away the hard work that you've done. So think, when am I most vulnerable to eating more calories? Or when will it serve me to put this food back in so I don't make a mess of it? But also that training performance, we want to restore that as quick as possible. So just a period of around 4 weeks to reverse back up to maintenance. And then from there, you're into that gaining and improvement phase. When you start to enter that, it wants to be your overall new established maintenance. 5% of that calorie intake is the increase from carbohydrates to drive that performance in the gym. And that's how you're going to reverse out of your dieting phase, stop yourself from binging. What I would say is try to really avoid heavily processed foods in a reverse diet phase. You may have finished your cut, you may want an off-plan meal. Eat real food is the message here. Go and eat steaks, go and eat sushi, go and eat real food that was made by a real human being, not heavily processed garbage, because that's just going to make a mess of your physique, and it's going to make a mess of your ability to stick to your diet plan for that coming week. So that's how you're going to reverse diet out of the plan. If you found this video of value, great, subscribe to the channel. If you want to come join us inside the Gorilla Platoon, then there'll be links in the description. See you tomorrow.